something like that anyway. Ooh, where am I? I can't even see where I am in the chat. I've been trying to set up my stream deck so I can do all this more easily. Tojaba, bro, what's up? Hey, we got the Beebinator. What's up, man? What is it? Something resembling the afternoon in the UK at the moment, assuming that's where you are at the moment. OU812, hey bro, how are you? And Red Stuff is in here, sweet. What's everybody up to? It's like afternoon in Europe, right? I don't expect to see too many people, well, except for David Belcher here in Eugene, Oregon, up nice and early. What is it, 10:34 here in the evening, so... Military time too as well, I love that. 14:34. Morning from Kansas, USA. Hey Bruce, how are you, mate? What time is it down under? It's, well, Perth, it's 10:34 in the evening, so... Anybody ever file their nails like that little bit too much where you kind of cut yourself? This is so annoying. Just under there, under the nail. Oh, I'm reminded of every time I fret a note now. Like, it's not critical, I can live with it, but it's also just just annoying enough. Well, I always look like I'm in some sort of a physical difficulty when I'm playing. On the go with the Sprinter van, sadly not to get gear, but stupid furniture. I've had a furniture weekend as well, Tojba, so I know exactly where you're coming from. I mean, is it stupid furniture because it's furniture and furniture is stupid, or is it furniture that is legitimately just like really, really silly? So one of those finger care crosses we have to bear. Exactly. I can use it as an excuse to make up for playing like absolute hot garbage otherwise. Beebs, you'll appreciate this. I have this like big backing track folder that I tried to play things over, and I programmed this, and it sounds terrible compared to the original, but I've tried to learn this solo so many times, but you'll know the groove immediately. It's because I don't sound anything like Alan Holdsworth, right? In the Dead of Night, the UK song with John Wetton on vocals and Bill Bruford on drums, it's like that Holdsworth solo on there is just the best. Like just playing over that groove, and yeah, some of the stuff he does is so cool. But I was chatting to someone about it the other day, Brett Garced actually, and we were talking about that solo and how like that's where the beat it lick comes from. You know, the what is the thing? But Alan plays it down an octave. He does this. and the other classic for anyone who cares about this stuff, which I heard on like an Ingve thing, but you know, if you're playing the harmonic minor scale, normally, you know, but you just leave the -7 in as well, so that bit of chromaticism. The beat it lick with 3 strings, as in man, that suddenly it's like a budget Sean Lane. Doing that with, because of course you have all the Paul Gilberty kind of Vinnie Moore stuff as well. Mayhem, absolute mayhem. I drank too much. Catcher, bro. Take it easy. It is indeed that time in Perth, isn't it? Did I move rooms? Yeah, a totally new place. So I'm slowly setting up this room, which is just a spare bedroom. But yeah, all the racks are... they won't fit in this room, one. But also, yeah, I've got to figure out what to do with them. I do want to hang some stuff on the wall as well. So we're getting there. I mean, there's some things here, and that cupboard has a bunch of stuff in it as well, which is nice, kind of keeping it concealed. So yeah, exactly, Beebs. That's what I was just saying. So yeah, we moved. So we were fortunate enough to buy a place here, which is, I mean, everywhere's crazy at the moment, but anyone who's from Australia and especially Perth will know the feeling. So it's got an awesome garden and plenty of room for the cats. So pretty stoked with that, and has a huge shed. And I was like, great, we'll just do the shed up. And no, this bedroom has been sacrificed currently. As soon as I got my stuff in here, I was like, oh, awesome. It's also quite funny as well, where I was like, oh, I need to like get in and treat the room before I do anything in there. And I realized that that's going to be such a process of, you have to try to do things in there and figure out the quirks of the room, right? So yeah, that's why it all sounds a little bit echoey in here, a little more than usual. But yeah, so that's why there's not like, yet, there's not the wall of guitars and things like that. So Wadey, bro, how you going? I too like the cheese, mate. Oh yeah, that cut's nice. What was I playing over before? Oh yeah, 80s Blue Oyster Cult. Probably like the only person in the world listening to that song at the moment. What can we play? Something... Maybe this? What's this? No, I like the sound of this a bit more. The Midnight, there we go. There, look at this. What am I doing? Oh yeah, the Garcet interview was super fun, man. So let me just kill this for a second. I've chatted to Brett a little bit over the years, but I've never actually had the chance to meet him. And I was at the Melbourne Guitar Show, and I hear this voice like, "Oi, Leon, what you doing, mate?" And it's Brett. And we were in the. It was quite funny, like in the whole Fender, not even a booth. They had their own standalone area there. He pulls out his new Chile guitar. And there's all these people around like, oh, wow, it's Brett Garcet. This is cool. So he's just showing off his new non-Fender guitar in the Fender area, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, he was such a champ, man. That was very, very cool. And I've been going through his book, which is really interesting. Some of the hybrid stuff where, I've done stuff that resembles hybrid picking before. There we go. I actually use it probably all the time. But his whole thing where it's like, yeah, you can also use it for non-upstroke replacement. Like he's got this drill, which is killer. Kind of like a 16th note thing. Okay, yeah, it's funny you mentioned those tunes. So, because like Brett doesn't rate himself at all. He's like, yeah, I guess I did some cool stuff. But I mentioned like you and Jake and Tom in particular as like dudes I heard like early guitar YouTuber. I was like, whoa, how are these guys so good at legato? Like, what's the deal? And then digging into it and being like, it's not just Holdsworth, it's Garcet as well. He's like, sort of like the other big guy with that whole technique and those albums and those tunes. As much as I love Holdsworth, I can do like 25 minutes at a time. Once you've heard City Nights twice and decided not to practice, then you put something else on and you're just like, oh man, this is like dense music. Cool music, very, very cool. But, the number of times you can kind of listen to like... like once you hear more than one augmented chord, I'm out. But Brett's stuff is just like really, really cool. Like in between that sort of like, there's some proper fusion elements in it, but it's also just very melodic. It's not like play the head once and then and then just go to town. Whereas like Alan's stuff to me is more like it sounds truly like he's improvising all the time, even when he's playing tunes. So yeah, it's I think Brett's tenure with Farnham definitely rubbed off on his melodic sensibilities and stuff like that. So Holdsworth, but on a syntax, yeah. Coney Hatch, yeah, a little bit. I was never super into them, Nick. Were they American? Were they another one of these bands that I think is American, but they're actually Canadian? Again, as I thought, Canadian. Yeah, man, there's so many of those sort of bands. I really like Pat Travis Band. They're like, obviously, there's all the other Canadian bands, but Pat Travis. I was listening to, did you mention Saga the other day, Nick? I think a lot of that Canadian stuff, it's sort of like, you had... like late 70s American rock, but then in the UK you had new wave of British heavy metal where you didn't really have, like everyone became a heavy metal band, whereas the rock bands kind of stopped, where it seems like in Canada, like all those, you still had that stream of like, it was still rock based music, you know, rather than new wave of British heavy metal, you know. I don't know, it's an emerging theory. But my guitar doesn't have those notes. Yes, that's how I feel about Brett as well. It's pretty wild, hey. Pretty wild. All right. Do you recommend parallel modes over relative modes when soloing? What exactly do you mean by that, mate? Do you mean like C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian? They're all the same mode. I'll play something with some mix modes if you guys like. Very straightforward mix modes thing. Alan Hines, yeah, is the other uber tier legato player I love with awesome writing. Man, who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Who's a guitar player in Go West? Is that Alan Hines? Or is that, no? He's another Alan, right? Or maybe I'm just thinking of Alan Hines. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. That the touch sensitivity thing I never got. I think because I grew up on like Joe Satriani legato, where it's like, I don't know, it still sounds like he's fretting quite hard, you know. Which is really cool. Or also a lot of the Vi stuff. What's that? Diddle-a-diddle-a-da. Yeah, it's not Richard Drummy. It is. Let's see. Alan Murphy, that's his name. Man. Also, kind of similar to Garced, right? Where it's like most of his best known work was essentially in a pop band, but far out. Man, Alan Murphy's got some licks. So cool. So cool. Yes, there you go. David Williams has it. Ladies Night in Buffalo, one of the first. Yeah, man. That solo is so cool. Never managed to make that style into improvising. I don't think I can do it very well, but that it's yeah, I can just about remember a few Vian Satch solos though. Yeah, it's funny, hey, like so many of those things which I feel like that's just in the repertoire now. If you're a rock guitar player, it's easy to forget that they like all the little moving. Like Via just has so many cool things that I forget that he's such a great guitar player because I'm just used to like Steve Vai the person existing and, you know, seeming like he's quite a cool dude. And then it's like, oh, actually, yeah, you're a monster and a monster transcriber as well, right? All the Zappa stuff he transcribed and, you know, all the early Ingve stuff before anyone else could do it. So crazy. Hey, John, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Many more to come, believe me. And it's like a box of tricks that never runs out, right? Came out of the memory vault. I'm like that with Whitesnake songs. Someone just sort of says something and I'm like, oh, what one's that? Is that I think it's this. Not so much the solos, but just, yeah, random riffs that take up background CPU, I guess. Inside the Sound, hey man, I hope you're doing well. Greetings from Ukraine. What's up, dude? Where are you tuning in from? So cool to hear. I know the guys that make the Amperium are based there as well. That's a super cool product that I've got one of. So Vi's a great orchestrator. You can find videos where he has the instrument parts scored out. Yeah, I mean, he had that live at the Astoria DVD, right, where they do a passage to Bangkok from the musical Chess. And I always remember Vi saying, he's like, yeah, he was going through, when he was on tour with Dave, he just transcribed stuff. He's going through a bunch of old transcriptions, found that, and was like, wow, this is a cool piece of music. I'm going to write it. Wrote it, sent like a pre-master to a friend, and they were like, oh, I see that you're doing a passage to Bangkok by, who was it, Tim Rice? And no, one of the guys from ABBA and Tim Rice. I forget exactly, but they were like, oh yeah, that's a cover. And Steve was like, oh my God, I forgot that I transcribed that. So yeah, that would have been quite funny if that had come out and someone hadn't caught it. Hey, Wolfstand Music. Hey, bro. Very, very nice timing. What are you up to today? You're up nice and early from what I can see. Someone asked me to play something heavy before. What does that entail? Are we talking like Megadeth heavy? Or are we? Because I was defaulting. Yeah, everybody has different definitions of heavy. Is it Rat, or is it Meshuggah, or is it Pantera? Or is it Black Label heavy? I think I'm going out of tune here, guys. Beeves, you're too kind, mate. I will message you some videos of those cats enjoying that. Thanks, man. I massively appreciate that. Massively appreciate that. And Noise Bloom is in here as well. You weren't first. I was thinking of you. I was like, is he going to do it? But again, this is a different time slot, isn't it? Everyone should go and subscribe to BB's channel as well. Then you can learn to play guitar good. You can learn to play guitar more gooder. Mate, you know what has been actually the thing you put up on, like the finger swapping thing? That is just like, that's in my something I can't play well, but I use it as a warm-up all the time. Parallel modes, playing all the modes in the same key instead of relative modes where you play C major and then D Dorian. What's best for soloing? It really depends on what you're playing, mate. If you're playing music that's mostly diatonic, I wouldn't even bother thinking about modes. I would just think about trying to play melodies and then really, really fast bits in between the melodies. That's how I like to live my life. The thinking being that it's like, if you're playing A minor, G, F, and it's strictly diatonic, so strictly, I don't know, A Aeolian you want to call it, or the relative key, C major. I don't think there's any advantage in knowing that, like, oh yeah, on the F I do F Lydian, but on the G I do G Mixolydian. You should be devoting your brain processing power to playing cool stuff, which is really, really cool. If you were playing stuff that is like, let's take an example, right? We're playing A minor, G, D, F. Well, you can go on the D, hit an F sharp note and you can go, I'm going to do a bit of A Dorian. And then on the F, I'll play F Lydian. An easy way to think about that would be like, on the D, don't play F, so exclude a note. On the F, exclude the F sharp. So you could actually play something that's going to let the chords cover the modal color and just play a pentatonic with a 9. So but yeah, these are all like musical decisions that you make, and they're going to be different to decisions that I make, and that's really, really important. I feel like agency is often eliminated when people talk about this stuff. So yeah, if you know all the modes and you know what to do, sometimes it's a case of like, okay, don't get too in your head, just do cool stuff, or play the Boys of Summer riff in the key. You know. Frank Gambale recommends parallel modes instead of relative modes. I imagine that is in the context of practicing them. So if you were to practice them over a drone or over a vamp, so I'll give you an example. Let me just chuck a looper on. So, and Frank's great. The song, what's the tune he plays on the Monster Licks and Speed Picking one? That's a fun song. But yeah, you know, let's just say we were going to record a quick little loop, and I'll do it in E. So I'm literally just going to play a groove with an E note. And if you strictly wanted to sit there and just practice modes, you could. Hearing all the different shades. What I would recommend would be practice your major modes and your minor modes next to one another. So go and do them in this order: Mixolydian, Ionian, Lydian. So in E. Because what's happening with each of those is Mixolydian has the, like, it's a dominant tonality, right? It's got like the least number of sharps. Neutral for Ionian. So that's a cool way where you can hear each mode gets brighter and brighter, would be one way to say it. And then yeah, you hear the contrast between the major modes and the minor modes, or any other mode you want to practice. So if you're doing minor ones, maybe Dorian, Aeolian, harmonic minor, Phrygian dominant, double harmonic. So that's a cool thing where you can hear that those two. What I like about that is it's a harmonic approach to it, where even though you're playing a single note and you're playing a scale, there's this like implied harmonic stuff happening, which is really, really cool. Your ears like fill in the gap. Yeah, I mean, if you played it with something kind of gritty, it's a good point about Zeppelin as well, because I really like a lot of the Jimmy Page approach to. Yeah, and if you can lock in with it, it's a great alternative, as Noisewim said, to playing with a click. Plastodon, that's a cool name. Do you have any recommendation for Riff Ryan learning how you work on them? So a cool thing, because we're talking about modes. This is fun. This is a really, really fun little thing. Play your, well, let's riffs. We want them in minor keys, right? So in E, play like a descending natural minor scale with a. So pick a couple of those notes, and I just like to imagine that I'm drumming. So kick drum, snare. So it might be. Let's say that's your riff, then take it through. So you'd be like, well, that's the root note, the 7th, and the 6th note in the scale. You do it with a Dorian. Do it with the fridge in. Do it with natural minor. Whoop. And then if you go harmonic minor. Something like that, where you can just basically take a pattern, but then by inserting a couple of different notes, you're getting a different flavor out of it. So I'm in the UK. Is it tomorrow in Australia? It's 11 p.m. I'm actually going to bounce pretty soon, but yeah, it's 11 p.m. here. You got to do got to do a bit of this. Very, very fun. Thank you. Got to do some psychs, especially on this guitar. What year is it in Australia? I think about 1926. Something like that. Yeah. The other thing as well is with kind of riff writing, I honestly, the most of the stuff I've come out with starts with like, okay, just playing a single note groove. You know, just trying to make the groove work while you throw stuff in. So that wasn't super happening, but you know, stuff where riff means repeated motive, right? So that's the kind of thing. Trying to come up with something, then trying to repeat it again. Something like that. You know, it's got to feel good. People, if you want people to listen to it and listen to it over and over again because it's repeated, not only got to sound good, it's got to feel good. I think that's the thing with riff writing there. I would say 10 to 52, 10 to 50 for that kind of thing. That's what I've got on this guitar. Just kind of rolling around a few different tunings in it. So yeah, it's always a trade-off. Always a trade-off. But this isn't too crazy and standard. Or too floppy in like D, drop C kind of thing. So what year is Australia is very, very good. That's one of my favorite things that's popped up on here. Yeah, I mean, that is a good way to put it, mate. You can be both. You can be both. I like to try to put my brain in music mode sometimes. Which is one of the reasons why having not as much stuff can sometimes be great. I feel like it's like this, writing stuff and creating the raw materials, you don't need many tools. They get in the way. But when it comes to recording the stuff, then you need all the toys because it's like, okay, that riff, okay, that's cool, but you know, maybe I could mutilate it and do something really fun with it like this. Because I've got all the tools here, right? Maybe I want to sound like this. So yeah, there's always that trade-off on there. I might take one more question from the gallery. Harmonic major is the latest obsession. Yeah, dude. That's cool. I really like Mixolydian flat 6. That's been an obsession for a while. I wrote this kind of little when I was listening to heaps of Jeff Beck as a teenager. Let me see if I can remember this melody. It's in the brain. Something like, you know, probably with more this sort of... That's actually a cool point of that. A fresh setup is always pretty inspiring. I'm going to bounce, everybody, and I'll try and get another stream in maybe Tuesday morning my time, maybe Monday morning my time, so Sunday evening or Monday evening for the rest of the world. I'm talking about all these mixed modes things. I will play you all a little bit of this solo from a ragdoll song called Sky's Limit, which is like blues scale Phrygian dominant thing, something like that. So what I'm going to do is find it first. Should be somewhere in here. Let's see if I can find the track. And I hope everybody has an awesome Saturday. Let's see. Skies. Surely it's just under solo. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. Keep it real. Be good to one another. I'll see you on the next one.